Am I live? Right. Oh, I am. Jolly good. Okay, guys, just going to do the usual. I'm going to share this around. You know how it is. Okay. I see there's lots of people in chat. Well, I've been talking to people in the live chat already. There's been a lot of people waiting. So let me just do the usual. I'm going to share this. I've already shared it once on Facebook. I'm actually going to share it. Hang on, whoops. I'm just going to share that again on Facebook, on Twitter. Hang on, I've got like that on Twitter. So I'm going to share. I've got the. Yeah, I know what I've got. I've got the actual notice on the Panwo Panwo TV blog, and I'm also going to share. I'm also going to share the live stream. So I'll put here. Apparently, hashtag Richard D Hall is trending. Let's just see how much. Actually, put in Richard D. Whatever. Richard D Hall. There he is. Yeah. Richard, you're famous. Oh, because that's on Twitter now. So what I'll do is I just got to do a bit more sharing, guys. Won't be a sec. I'll be with you in a moment. All right. So let's do the usual. There we go. I've already shared it on one group. I'll share it on another. People are not. I don't think people are very happy with the thumbnail. It's actually it's not like 4 thumbnails I put together. It is actually a believe it or not, it is actually a screenshot from the documentary with Marianne Spring and Neil Haig, Neil Sanders. All right, and I'll go through this whole situation. Let me just finish the sharing. Okay, bases. I've already shared it on one group. It'd be nice if there was an automated system for doing this, but there's not. There was 31 people waiting, so I bet. Am I going to break the 100 barrier tonight? I think I may have once broken the 100 viewer barrier tomorrow. I broke the 100 view barrier another time. I think it was previously. I had got 100 views on a video. I can't remember which video it was. It might have been the Queen Death one. Yeah, thanks for the people who've been inquiring about my health, by the way. I am a lot better. I put on weight, actually, in the last couple of weeks, which I know is a little bit like carrying coals to Newcastle. It's because I've been on holiday, basically. But my voice is better. As you can hear, I don't have this bad voice anymore. Right, that's it. So, allow me to say a big hello to everybody. I've already got 62 views. That's fantastic. I want to say a big hello to everyone in chat. Alright, where are we now? Okay, so I'm just going to increase that. I'm just going to jam noises, get my eyes sorted. Yeah, I know. I've got to get my glasses. Hang on, I've got to get my glasses sorted out. Zoom. There we go. There we go. 125, 150 is probably enough. That's it. But there's loads of people. I'll try to sort of like say hello to everyone. And some people have posted me lots and lots of posts. Sue Hayward Tonkin, hello, how are you? Thanks for coming. I want to say I won't be able to scroll back and see everyone's. I won't be able to scroll back and see every single person's tweet. I'm very, very sorry about, or every single person's comment. I'm very sorry about that. But because there's just so many already. We've already had even before we started the start of the live stream, when I posted the video, I posted the video notice, posted it ahead of time. There was everyone was filling up in the chat. It was all filling up in the live chat. So Crafty Nihilist, hello Crafter. Crafty Nihilist is here. Matt, Nihilist Lives Matter, Sue Hayward Tonkin, Rhiannon Jones. Hi Rhiannon, how you do? It's great you're here. They had some trick or treaters who look like an alien. All right, good. Crafty Nudge, please check out Crafty Nudge. She's another person. She and he, they are two more people who are trying to back up Richard D. Hall at this moment. Jock of Ages, hello. Yeah, I am. I think the sea air did me a lot of good. I mean, you can actually hear my voice gradually improving over the course of the weekend at Lapis. Snarnock, what does yeet mean? It means to delete a video. There's several other different nicknames for that. Della Farrant, hey Della, how you doing? Armand Adams. Yes, I'll be coming on to that, and there's been a bit of a development regarding Richard's stall, and a very predictable one, unfortunately. Hello, Graham, how are you? Tina Silver, how are you? Who else? JamNoise72 is there as well, hi. Jam, you've just put all his videos on your channel to private. Not a bad idea, JamNoise. There's no valour in being a false martyr. And I'm going to actually come on to that in a minute, because this video is going to be a bit different from others. Anto Dawson, hello, how are you? Greetings. Joe Trucker. I know there's a lot of people who've already been posting for a while. Little Tesla, how do you do? I like your avatar. Max Q, hello. User one was here first, of course, as always. And I'm sorry if there's anyone I missed out. Just keep posting your comments. That's absolutely fine. How are you? We've got See How We Were Living. Oh, hello. I'm late because Thomas Sheridan's just been. Oh, right. See How We Are Living. Honey Badger, hello. Nick, is Nick the gardener here? Oh, Investigate with Nick. Hey, how you doing, Nick? And See How We Are Living. He just has been watching Thomas Sheridan. Yes, I haven't upstaged Thomas Sheridan, but you know what? You're not exactly late. You're 6 minutes, mate. It's not really late, but yeah, I will definitely. Yes, I'll go check out Thomas's channel. Hello, the lights below. I've got 68 now. 68. I'm determined. Hello, Sorenable. How you doing? I'm determined. I'm going to break the 100 barrier tonight. And hello, Honey Badger. We'll be talking about Neil Sanders tonight, Honey, and everyone else. Yeah, and hit like, yeah. Now, hello, Richard Kinsit. How are you? You saw me at the Birmingham Rich Planet tour. Yeah. Funnily enough, there's the actual program we're going to talk about tonight. I'm actually in it briefly, although I'm I'm actually pixelated, but I'm actually in the audience. It was actually the Birmingham event that they've without Richard's permission. Richard specifically forbade them permission. Hello, Lee Radford. How do you do? Thank you. Richard specifically. I mean, if you watch Richard's video on his channel about this, he specifically forbade the BBC from using any of his material, and they went and they used a clip from they're only two brief clips, a couple of seconds long, but it's basically Richard getting on stage in his one of his Birmingham talks. I recognise the venue, and David, I'm coming on to that. Hello, Jeff Sperry, and it includes JamNoise72's voice, because of course she does a lot of the audio. She's a voice actress, and she does a lot of the audio for Richard. I recognise her straight away for that sort of thing. Yeah, I've always recognised her voice whenever Richard comes in. Mouse Mesh, you wouldn't believe how good it is, and things like that. She says all these great things. She can do loads of voices. And of course she says, "Welcome everyone. This is Richard D. Hall." Yeah, the Panorama DJ Beauty says the Panorama documentary is very one-sided and not impartial. Well, that is a good summary. We can end the stream there. I mean, that's actually a very good summary. A very good summary indeed. It was as bad as I expected it to be. Right, just a bit of housekeeping we've got to do here. Hello, Phuket. How you doing? Hello, Eamon Padwima. Neil Sanders has changed a lot actually in the last couple of years. I'll be coming on to that, but he's. I'll be saying a bit more about him later, but I don't think he's quite as bad as many people are making out. Hello, Ralph Winter. Hello, Nothings It Seems. How do you do? Now, a bit of housekeeping. I am recording this live stream at the same time as I am recording it. So if it suddenly disappears, then I've got a recording. And so too bad. Anyone wants to sense this? What I'll do is, if it vanishes, I will simply upload. I'll upload what I recorded onto Alltech, and I will then. And then what I will do is I will then edit it in a way that I think is possible. Is absolutely certain that it won't get yeeted again, and I'll just simply upload the recording. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. Now, I'm gonna have to be. I really hate doing this, but I've got to be very, very stringent with the admin tonight. I've got two new admins, JamNoise72 and Crafty Nihilist. If Lisa or Claire turns up, they have the spanner as well. The reason is because I know there's going to be some dissent in the chat box tonight, and there's going to be some people who disagree. At least two I know disagree who are in chat tonight, and things could get a bit heated. If anyone, if anyone, they may just do it accidentally. They may say something which is basically Fed posting. That is something that will alert the bots to come and get this video removed or my channel struck down or something like that. So for that reason, the live chat is going to have to be very carefully moderated. So everyone is allowed to make points. Okay, everyone can. I'm saying that Jam Noise and Crafty. I've already said this to them. Please do not censor people's opinions. Just let them have their say. And I know you guys respect free speech, and I know you will. So anyone who's accusing me of censoring opinions, right? They're just trying to wind you up. But we're going to have to speak in code, as code only. Now, what I mean by code? What do I mean by code? We're going to have to use certain words. Now, we have to be able to fool the AI bots, basically. Now, that's the good thing about AI is it's not very I. They simply listen out for certain words, and when those words are uttered, it alerts the system. Sometimes, in some certain cases, it will alert a human operator if it's a very serious case. And videos can be. There's various levels of severity. Videos being deleted, channels being deleted, the police being called, things like that. But this is, I really hate doing this, but there's, as Jam Noise was saying earlier, she's privatised her videos with Richard, and now that's simply it's simply avoiding being a false martyr. All right, we have to try and work around this. If we just charge at it and get cut down, yeah, it makes us look good, it makes us look cool, but it doesn't achieve anything. So. And this is the first time I've had to do this, and it's really only this subject. It's this subject in particular right now, which is especially topical, is reason why there's such tight admin here. We're going to have to speak in code, and by code I mean there are certain words we mustn't utter. And really, there's not many. I mean, there's only a handful. I think people's names who are involved, such as the witnesses to certain events, the events we're going to talk about tonight, their names. And the events themselves we should refer to not in their full title. So, for example, there's a certain event that happened in London, which is referred to in the Panorama programme I'm talking about. It happened by a certain bridge. It resulted in a policeman being killed, apparently. I'm just going to call it the bridge attack. I'm not going to say which bridge it is, but it is a bridge in London. There was also an event that happened in a city in the North Country. This was an alleged terrorist bomb at a concert, at a musical event, and I'm not going to say which city it is or what the name of the venue is, but I'm simply going to call it the conference bang or the conference bombing or something like that. You see, in Richard's, and I'd like you to do the same, please. Could you do the same? If someone, and also there's a school in the United States where there was this is going to come up as well. I've already had to do this because if you watch my Alex Jones in Court video, and I've actually put a link in the background in the show notes to this in the description box, because this is directly relevant. What happened in the United States with Alex Jones is directly relevant to what's happened here. There was a certain school in the United States where allegedly a number of children were murdered in a massacre. This school is, you can call it Shady Nook. Sadie Hook, whatever you want to call it, but please don't utter the full name. I did this in my Alex Jones in Court video because it's not because I'm trying to avoid being sued or get the video being taken down or anything like that. It's simply because, I am trying to avoid the video getting taken down. Sorry, but I'm not trying to avoid being sued or anything like that. I just want these videos to be up so people can see them. And this particular school, literally, they're really... This is what I mean. During the Alex Jones trial, literally, if anyone even uttered the name of the school and you weren't from a mainstream media source, let alone if you had alternative views on what was going on, or in any way supportive of Alex, the video was just gone. I mentioned Sophia Smallstorm. Her videos vanished. Her videos are on other sites. I mean, the good news is you can't completely delete anything or censor anything these days. But the more the more area we have for discussion, the better. Now, Richard did a response to this. Now, Richard's he's a tough old bird, and I knew very well that he wasn't going to let this get him down. And I mean, he's already put a video on his channel, which essentially is a response to the BBC, and also an introduction to his channel for people who may have found him as a result of the inadvertent publicity that Auntie B was just giving him. Trust Richard to turn this to his advantage. Yeah, I mean, he's already had one of his videos advertised on BBC Question Time. Do you remember that? I received this it was in my pigeonhole today. Oh, the Joe Cox conspiracy. I pissed myself. But Richard believes that the reason, I mean, I think I don't know, there may be several reasons why this is all blown up now. Richard believes it's because at the moment Parliament are debating the Online Harms Bill. Now, the Online Harms Bill is a very, very sinister piece of legislation because the government want to bring it into law with a very sinister clause that refers to material on the internet that might be legal but is still harmful. The House of Lords have just sent it back saying, no, you have to get rid of this. It has to be illegal material only. You can't censor people for saying things that are not illegal just because if you do that, then the government can just say anything is harmful that might be. It could be completely legal speech, but the government can say, well, that's harmful, and then the tech companies are ordered to get rid of it. Now, as people who create content in social media are probably aware of this, I think that the owners of big tech, obviously Elon Musk is going to change that, but the other owners of big tech, the Zuckerbergs and the Zuckerbergs and people like that, I think, and indeed the Wojcicki's as well, I think someone has had a word in their ear and told them that the Online Harms Bill is a foregone conclusion. It's going to be put in no matter what. Because to be honest, people like YouTube, they're acting as if the Online Harms Bill is already law, and they have been for a couple of years. They're already behaving as if it's law. Their corporate practice is exactly as if the Online Harms Bill was already law. And that's why we have to we have a lot of self-discipline in this particular live stream. That's the reason. Hope everyone's all right down there in the Handy Sook. Yes, Handy Sook. Yes. And everything's scrolling down now. Every time I minimise the tab to check my notes, right? Suddenly there's a whole load of comments here. Nothing to see. Jim Fetzer. Yeah, what happened to Jim Fetzer? I think Nick Collestrom's still in touch with him, but yeah. You've got to be careful. Yeah, DJ Beatrice says we shouldn't just immediately trust Elon. We could see what he's going to do first. Let's give him a chance. All right, so we're referring here to a situation which of the Panorama. Now, the BBC documentary Panorama was on last night. Halloween, very appropriately. I must apologise because I said this was going to be about Ghostwatch, didn't I? This was going to be about Ghostwatch. Actually, before I forget, I'm going to go to the Ghostwatch notice and just rescue all the comments because I have to delete this later. I really am sorry that I didn't do the Ghostwatch live stream. This emergency situation came up. I already had this live stream planned for Ghostwatch, and this emergency situation emerged. Oh, shut up, Clive.
Australia's leading proponents of the global.
Will you shut up, Clive? Pardon me. Let's just go straight to my studio. As always, my browser runs slowly when I'm doing a live stream. I'm just going to rescue the comments from the. Well, I won't go through the Ghostwatch comments tonight because this is obviously on the notice because the notice, of course, is not what this video is about. I put up the notice. I was going to do the live stream tonight about Ghostwatch, and of course, then this came up. This whole thing came up. This whole situation, this emergency situation, which has just emerged. If that's not a tautology, which of course it is. Here we go. So I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm just going to do this 1 second. All right. Now, here we go. In fact, some of the comments actually on the Ghostwatch notice are relevant to this because I put a pinned comment. NB, I'll probably be changing the theme of tomorrow's live stream. I'll cover Ghostwatch at a future date. Apologies. I put the same thing in. I actually put the same thing in the pinned at the top of this chat box as well. And then Spaceman87186 says, "Hi Ben, are you going to be discussing any of the controversy of Richard D. Hall at the moment? And do you think he's gone too far with his latest conspiracies, which is all over the media? Love your vids, mate. I said underneath here, thanks SM, yes, that's the subject I have to cover in an emergency situation. I'll answer your second question, but I've written an article on her Panorama voice. The fact is, no, I don't think he's gone too far. I think the BBC have gone too far. Well, they've gone the way they always do. Jack Burns says, that was a good article on her Panorama, so many are. Thanks, Jack. I hope you are still on the mend, Ben, and had the unmentionable virus and compared it to previous airway type illnesses you've had over the years. Do you think it may be lab or bioengineered? There's a sense of oddness to it. Yeah, Jack, I've covered it in other videos, but yes, I believe it came from a laboratory, this unmentionable cerveza sickness, as Trevor calls it. Gary Robinson says, we'll come back later, but he's made some lascivious comments about Sarah Green, which I really must agree with. I did have a crush on her myself, I must admit. That's fair enough, I think. Okay, so let me just put in notes. I'm just going to the notes here. Okay. Comments. One sec, guys. I'll just put in notes as comments. See, if I don't do this, I'll forget. Right. Paste. So, okay, guys, I hope you guys are alright. Bingo, that's it. Oh, it's funny. Okay, that's all sorted then. Okay. So how are you guys getting on? Okay, everyone's getting on here. Any more new people turned up? Warbabe1951, hello, how are you? Funchinelli, another Scotsman, bloody heck. Bushcraft Ninja, that's a good name. Talk about Neil. Yeah, we're going to talk about Neil Geddes Ward. Not Neil. Neil Geddes Ward. Neil Sanders. How can I get those two mixed up? They're called Neil, but they're totally different. Snarnox mentioned the president of Brazil. Yes, I don't have time to go into that in detail, but basically, it's F-graphs again, isn't it? Yeah. You're probably going to see the same thing in the midterm elections coming up. They can only do they can't do that too often. They can't get away with it. Someone's mentioned Russell is still full. He's still very full of himself. Yes, which is full of himself is air. He's made of air. Classic cars of Harrogate spotted. Hello. The lights will low. Where's the mumbler where you need him? Yeah. Where is he? We've got 88 views. If it goes over 100, somebody let me know. Hi, Bushcraft Ninja is from Ireland. Hello. Oh, don't start with Neil Geddes Ward or I'll ban you, says Crafty. No, Neil is a good... No, I would... Comparing Neil Geddes Ward with Neil Sanders, I think, is a bannable offence. Okay, guys, so I'm going back to the notes from this particular... I've sorted out the whole notice thing. This Panorama documentary, now I watched it and I realised that you don't really need to watch it. It's half an hour long. You don't need to watch it if you've already read Mariana Spring's article or listened to her 11-episode show on Radio 4. You don't really need to watch it because it covers the same material and in less detail, actually. So a lot of it, the audio is actually pretty much what's on her channel. Let me just show you the programme, just a sec. Where's the program? I actually have the program here to show you. Well, I won't show you. I won't play it. Firstly, it's probably a copyright issue. Secondly, it is absolutely cringe and revolting and nauseating. But here we are. Let me have a look at this. Display capture on. There we go. There it is. It's called Panorama Disaster Deniers Hunting the Trolls. And this here is the description box. Panorama investigates how survivors of major terrorist attacks are hounded and abused by conspiracy theorists who claim they are crisis actors. The US conspiracist Alex Jones has just been ordered to pay nearly £1 billion to the families of the Shady Nook school shooting after claiming the attack was a hoax. Now the BBC's disinformation correspondent, Mariana Spring, hunts the disaster trolls who target survivors with sharpened spikes, of terror attacks in the UK and reveals new research about the popularity of these beliefs. This is Mariana Spring. This is an interesting image, actually. This thumbnail they've chosen because, I mean, she's not smiling. She looks so. Look at her. She looks so perturbed, She's got that look on her face. That serious look. She's looking at the camera. Go away, Telegram. Simon Parks. I'll deal with you. I follow Simon Parks on Telegram. You've just seen that, yeah. But look at that face. Look at that sad sack face. You know, she's like staring at the camera. You know, looking. Look at the glint in her eyes. She's almost tearful. This is Marianne Spring. Now, Marianne Spring, like I say, she's the BBC's disinformation, misinformation, and social media correspondent. So she's kind of the O'Brien of the BBC, the head of the Ministry of Truth. She no doubt gets paid a lot for what she does. What's interesting about her here also, look at what she's wearing. Now, she's quite young, probably I'd say in her early 30s. She's wearing some kind of jumper which is like it's what an older woman would wear. And look at she's got pearls around her neck, which also would look, it's more appropriate for an older woman. This is not coincidence. It's not coincidence that they choose this costume for. It is a costume, and they tell her to look a certain way. They probably had to spend a couple of hours getting this shot just right. Her facial expression, her gestures, the way her hands are placed, and her body language, and her costume, which is what it is. So yeah, if you watch it, like I said, it's easier just to listen to a radio show. If you do that, then you don't even need to watch this, because the TV program is just a condensed version of the radio show. If you want visuals as well, then that's the way to go about it. But it begins with one of the witnesses, the one at the boatyard. You see, it's like I say, all this is on the radio show as well. It's all sinister. You get scary music, and the lady says, "I was just in work the other day." Now this lady lives in North Wales, but she has an English accent. I won't, like I say, please don't say her name if you know it. And there was a man parked at the end of the road. He was parked at the end of the road in his dark car. He got out and he came in. It's like he's going to rob the joint, you know. And he tried to find me. He wanted to see me to see if my injury was real. And and then later on, I found it's Richard D. Hall. Oh God, help me, please. There's several other people like now. I don't know. It's one of the weird stylistic things about. Am I off? I'm off share screen on it. Yeah, it's one of the weird. It's one of these weird stylistic things, but modern programs, the mechanics of the program are often featured in the actual program. Like I showed you, like Neil Sanders using the clapperboard and things like that. Normally these things wouldn't be featured in the program, but it's like the mechanics of the programs are very often now included, and that's a modern stylistic feature. Another thing is like she has like Mariana has this kind of she has this headquarters, this base of operations to plan her hunting the trolls, and it's like a garage or something. It's a very, very crude place. It's probably not somewhere at the BBC centre. They probably hired a garage or a lock-up or something. It's again stylistic. Someone called Sasha Havlicek appears. Now, as soon as I saw her and I heard her name, I thought I've seen her before, and she's from the Institute. She's from. Now, I said there's all the people who are brought in are sort of skeptic, anti-conspiratorial people. Her organisation is called the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. You couldn't get more Orwellian than that, could you? But I've seen her before. I've heard it before somewhere. You see, it's like that. Sasha Havlicek. There's funny enough, all these correspondents they have now in the mainstream media. They seem to be young and female. Have you noticed that? There's another one called Kayleen Devlin, who is interviewed as well, who again is like a woman about the same age as Mariana Spring. Kayleen Devlin, I'm sure she's no relation to Mark. And she's one of these researchers at the BBC who says, conspiracy theory ideas are no longer fringe, they're spreading. Which I think is why this programme was made. Alex Jones is featured a couple of times. He's presented as a demonic figure. Neil. Then there's the interview with Neil Sanders. Now, Neil has complained about this on social media, actually, about how his TV appearance is edited much worse than his radio appearance. Now, Neil, what do you expect? You agree to do an interview with the BBC. Don't complain when they edit you unfairly. Were you expecting to be treated? Were you expecting for them to be honest with you? And then breaking news. There's a couple of breaking news here, right? As it's almost a truism. I mean, this is hardly news, but Richard's just reported this. I mean, it's going to be on his previous video. His market stall has been closed. The management at the centre in Merthyr Tydfil have come to him and just said, "We're shutting your stall down." And you know why? It's because the bloody BBC turned up and to harass him. There's no other word for it. To harass him, as Richard said, he'd written to these people saying, "I don't want to speak to you," and they turn up at his place of work. Now, if anyone else did that, the police will drag him away. So it is, as Richard rightly points out, they're doing what they're accusing him of doing. And of course, this is a really sad thing, and unfortunately, it was all too predictable. Probably, Mariana Spring contacted the management of the market and just spun them a yarn. They just, yes, the BBC has spoken. We will shut down Richard's stall immediately. Now, if it had been me running that market, I'd have said, well, what's he done wrong? What's so bad? And she'd have given her spin and all the horrible things she said about him. Oh, laughable in life. It wasn't so offensive. Harm. He's causing harm. Do you really causing pain to people? And things like all the other horrible things. He's got books by evil people on his shelf. All that sort of thing, right? And he's got the Light newspaper on ready to be sold. As well? It's given. I think the Light newspaper. I always find the Light is free, but I sometimes give a donation to them. But I'd just gone up and said, Richard, what's all this about? And I'd have listened to Richard's side of the story, assuming as the manager of the market, I wouldn't already know much about Richard's. I'd listen to his side of the story before I went and shut down his stall. But it seems that this is frustrating because the cowardice and stupidity of third parties in this situation. It's so I don't believe it's an infinite resource, but the BBC are treating it as an infinite resource. They all say, well, it's okay, we'll just demonise him to somebody, and we'll just demonise him to these various people upon whom who he works with or he's dependent on for his livelihood, for his reputation, and we'll just demonise them. They'll just fall into line immediately without question. Yes, BBC. We'll do exactly what we tell you. We'll do exactly what we tell you to now. It's like when Stefan Molyneux was banned from MailChimp. They had a load of some people saying how horrible he was, how he was a misogynist and a racist and things like this. And MailChimp just tweeted back saying, "Thank you for informing us. We have closed his account." They didn't even ask to hear his side of the story. I've also heard that apparently Mariana Spring is now writing a book. Oh God, for fuck's sake! She's now writing a book based on this research she's done to go along with her stupid, horrible, poisonous article in the on the BBC website and her radio show. Okay, let's go to my... Oh, there's some more notes. Let's go and find more notes here. I'll come back to you guys in a minute, actually. I'll just come back and see how you guys are getting on in chat. Let's have a look. I've got 93 views. Did I go over 100? Did I go over 100, anyone? While I was away reading from my notes. Did I slip over? I've got 96 now. Come on! Let's have three figures. If I get three figures tonight, it's 94 now. All right, Crafty says the council have asked for people to write to them. RDH said they're being fair. All right, okay. Well, I haven't actually seen that bit yet, but I mean, I assume that. I kind of assumed that. Okay, people could use swear words in chat, guys. Admins, all right. So. Lights Willow's just said shitty. Yeah, you could use swear words. That's absolutely fine. We're adults here, so admins, you can approve posts with. All right, yeah. I've watched. Crafty, I haven't quite finished your short yet, but I'll go through it, and I'll go back to Richard's website and check it again. Hello, Stephen Truthseeker. How do you doing? Oh, I hit 10k for a moment. All right. I swear. Oh, Bax tells me to get Defiant. You just wait, yeah. Nice one, Nihilist and Life Matter. Thanks. I've got 98 now. I'm on 98. I reckon I must. I don't. These probably concurrent viewer figures are probably. I bet they are on 99. I bet they're just estimates anyway. So I'm probably over 100 now. 99. Come on, one more. Share it, guys. Share it. Come on, 99. 98. Come on. I did go over 100 once before. Do you know what? I reckon I get more viewers than YouTube actually tell me. I was talking about this with I got 100. Yeah, 100. We are 100. Yeah, we hit 100. Yeah, we're down to 99 again, but we got our 100. Yay. JB Howe, hello. There's a black leopard sighting in Kent. Oh my god. We'll do cryptozoology another time, Jamie. I reckon I get more views than YouTube give me credit for, because I've noticed some. I noticed some of them drop, and this is same with Blogger. I reckon Blogger actually reduced some. It was all about. Bax says, like I said, it's all about micro fame. No, it's not, Max. I'll be covering that. Okay, I'll be covering that. There's other ways to get famous in this world. If all I want is fame or micro fame, there's other ways. There's much easier ways to do it. Hello, Kim Panda 95 XX. How are you? Thanks RDA. Thank RDH. Yes. Well, no, I mean, I don't think this is not RDH's doing. I don't think it's his. I don't think I need to thank him for this. Corsitus, hello. All right then, guys. Some more notes here. Here we go. I wrote an article about this. I'm just going to go through this article I wrote. I've got to put the live stream in there. Okay, right. Okay, that's one thing. A little bit more admin I've got to do here. Which I will do succinctly. But I wrote an article on her Panamo voice, which it's actually been very popular. And again, I'm not going to sort of like start saying, oh, it's because I wrote about Richard because I want lots of hits and things like that. No, I wrote about Richard because I am very concerned about what was done. I've written about this subject because I think it's very important. Not just for Richard's sake, it's for all our sakes. I've fallen out with Richard, like nearly everyone does. On a personal level, I've fallen out with him. So I'm not doing this just for his sake. Although I am doing it kind of for his sake, because he's the one currently being affected by this, and that's bad. And I want to defend him, regardless of my personal feelings for him. I want to defend him because I don't believe our personal feelings for other people are really relevant at this moment. I think we've got to put those things aside and be professional. I was talking to someone earlier, and they said, well, when it comes to Richard, what goes around comes around, and and made the case that maybe Richard deserved this. Well, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve what's been done to him at all. I know he's made some mistakes, and he's actually been very unjust. He's committed what I think are some injustices, but that does not mean he deserves this. He doesn't deserve this. And I mean, I'm not rubbing my hands and thinking, things like that. I am not going to do that. Oh, all right. The hit piece is now on YouTube. All right, great. I bet YouTube won't delete that. Thanks, Jam Noise. Okay, you don't have to go to the BBC I now if you don't want to. Right. Thanks, Jam Noise. Yeah, it's on YouTube. I'm sure someone has YouTubed it. Jeff's very shadow banned. Yeah, I am. Andrew Johnson has already. Oh God! You could see my box. Oh, I'll cut. No, I won't do that. Right? Yeah, I'll do. Here we are. Let me provide you with this Thompson's. These are the people who are paying me. I'm sorry, I forgot to put it on display. There we go. Thompson's Irish breakfast tea. There we go. That was given to me by Rhiannon. Okay. I'll come on to the witness of that. Starnock, remind me to bring up Peter Hyatt, won't you, please? Later, because that's very important. I'll bring up Peter Hyatt later. Now, the reason I'm concerned. It's not just for Richard's sake. This is for all of our sakes. This is for the state of the world. because the deep state is currently, it's a new tactic by the deep state, which I predicted in my Alex Jones in court video, which I've got a link in the description box to. I said that this would only be the start. What was done to Alex Jones would only be the start. I said this is a new tactic for suppressing dissent, which is outsourced lawfare. Because up till now they've been passing legislation, they've been using slippery new court orders and things like that to ban it directly. They go on about offensive material, hate speech, things like that, and other such excuses. But they've changed that. They're now stirring up mobs of litigious paramilitaries, essentially, to crush dissidents by ruining their character and livelihood in civil lawsuits. That's the method they're using. They did it. The precedent was set. What was done to Alex, and now it's being applied to Richard D. Hall. Now, someone actually mentioned this. This actually came up on last Thursday's Panorama show, because someone mentioned me. What's happened to Richard's YouTube channel? Could you check? I think it's down. So I went and checked, and I saw that indeed Richard's YouTube channel was down. And I still do sub to him on YouTube. Like I said, I've actually blocked him on other social media because of our personal dispute. But I have still been following him on YouTube because he makes these videos that I still like to see. I still like to watch. I still think he's a good researcher and activist. And I can put my personal feelings aside. The same goes for Andrew Johnson, whom I've also fallen out with, as you know. And I checked. Yes, it's true. And I thought, this is just YouTube being censorious again. This is a typical act of suppression of information. Shame on them. Then I thought maybe it's something else. Maybe the McCanns have flagged him. Then I thought maybe Richard deleted the channel himself on the advice of his solicitor. And then I found out I was right first time, because then I started listening. I read Mariana Spring's article and started listening to her radio show. And she has she contacted YouTube. Ms. Spring decided to shove her all in and contact YouTube, and of course YouTube immediately replied to her and said, "Thank you very much, we have deleted the article." They're not going to, because that's no surprise. YouTube do this all the time. They just, and they're not going to go against the BBC. And this is the series on Radio 4 is called Disaster Trolls. Now, I want to say, if you've seen the Panorama documentary, you'll know this. But just bear in mind, if you haven't, even if you have, just go back and think about it again. What is it essentially about? What is it essentially about? It is almost the entire radio series, and also the TV program, is a series of profiles about how a number of people have suffered. These are the people who claim to be the victims of various incidents, like the concert bang and the bridge attack, and several others, such as Shady Nook. There's a couple of there's a reference to that. They claim to be the victims of the alleged terrorist attacks that took place at these locations in these incidents, and who all have lost loved ones in these atrocities. Nearly all the entire program is about those people. Now, effective propaganda does not try to persuade rationally. It sometimes does. Occasionally, they'll put out factual disinformation, fake facts, and something like that. But most propaganda doesn't do that. Most propaganda is intended to engender powerful emotions in the minds of its target population. So it consists mostly of eloquent rhetoric rather than fake facts. So this, and indeed, these people were interviewed. One of them wept on camera, and Mariana Spring says, things like, when referring to Richard's ideas, these assertions are laughably ridiculous if they weren't so offensive and harmful, and things like, does he know how much pain he is causing the survivors of these attacks? Something like cant, that's a good word. C-A-N-T. It's not a mispronunciation of a swear word. Cant is a good word, I discovered, because I like to use new creative words when I'm writing. You wouldn't get that in professional journalism a few decades ago. And exactly the same thing was done with 9/11. And indeed, every time something like this happens, let me just read. I want to read you a poem very quickly. It's on Ben's bookcase. I'll show you the page briefly. Let me just see if I can find it. Hopefully I'll be able to find it quite easily. Here we go. I'll show you the page, but you can read along with me. Here we go. This is on Ben's bookcase, apanwo-bb.blogspot.com. I wrote this in 2009. The skeptics keep telling me 9/11 truthers are heartless exploiters. They trample on the graves of the thousands who died to indulge their wacky fantasies. I'm glad they told me that. I'm sorry. I will try to be more sensitive in future. I will try to show genuine respect for the victim's memory. And I have. The other day I saw an old lady getting kicked to death in the street by a gang of thugs. The thugs then took her handbag from her dead, blood-soaked hands. I was going to shout for help and call the police, and then I remembered. If I do that, I'm a heartless exploiter. So I kept quiet and I didn't tell anyone. I'm glad I've shown respect for the poor woman's memory. Can we show respect for the 9/11 victims in the same way? Can we keep quiet and not call for help? Can we let the thugs who did it get away with it? Or are we going to shout, call for help, and be heartless exploiters? And this, the theme of the poem is that basically this is what Mariana Spring was trying to do to Richard. So if you, for example, what she's essentially saying here, I mean, she dresses it up to make it look the opposite of what it really is. But what she's actually saying is that when a crime is committed, you cause enormous pain to the survivors and you show disrespect to the victims of that crime if you alert the police and you tell them what really happened. That's what she's essentially saying. So she said, if you do see someone being mugged and they die, you have to say, no one mugged them. They died of a heart attack. You have to lie to show respect. If you say the truth, you're being disrespectful. This is why they get Mark Bingham's mother to go everywhere. It's moral blackmail. This is why they get Mark Bingham's mother all over. She goes all over the shop. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that because that's what she does. She goes around talking about how she lost her son. And I'm sorry she did, but she's promoting. She doesn't realise it. I'm sure she doesn't realise it. She wouldn't do it deliberately. But she's promoting a narrative which is protecting the perpetrators. Which is protecting the murderers of her son. It's a false story which the real killers of her son are hiding behind. And Mariana Spring is essentially saying that Richard, and everyone who watches have to do the same thing. At no point does Ms. Spring attempt to explain neither why Richard's thesis is incorrect, nor why the official story is somehow correct. You see, propaganda is about drawing the reader or the listener or the viewer. You draw their heart, not their head, their heart, into the everyday experience of these people who are trying to rebuild their lives after the worst day of their life. This is a catchphrase she has, the worst day of their life. They're coping with injuries, they're coping with grief. And once the viewer, listener, reader's sympathy has been sufficiently stoked, then comes the sting. The next part of the story is introduced. And that's when you hear about how they've been abused online by people who are allegedly incited by the nasty old Mr. Hall, and nasty public enemy number one. And he is now. He's achieved fame, major mainstream fame, but it's infamy. This is important, right? Richard himself is not being accused of abusing anyone personally. Alex Jones wasn't accused of abusing anyone personally. That wasn't the crux of the case against Alex. In fact, neither of them have ever suggested anybody should go out and do any such thing. But what I found is in the courts. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I found this happening more and more and more, and I wonder why. I'd have to ask maybe a black belt barrister can explain. The actions of other unrelated individuals can somehow be transformed into the culpability of these people, these media figures. Now that's a worrying legal application, because if someone goes out and does something wrong, something bad to another person, whose name I've mentioned, just all I have to do is mention my name in my video and the theme of my channel and everything like that, I become culpable. Is that possible? Could I actually be sued in court myself simply for mentioning a name? I mean, I actually do what Alex didn't do. I'm much more careful when it comes to privacy and the Data Protection Act. I would say to people, please do not, if I mention someone's name connected with any of these events, please do not approach them in any way. Now, if you listen to the radio show, one of the episodes is actually called Sharpening the Spike, which is a strange title. And it refers to a time when Richard was considering planting a hidden camera outside one of the alleged terror victims' home. An adult, not a child, an adult, on public land, to see if they were telling the truth about their injury, which was brain damage caused by one of the attacks, the concert bang. Now, this is an extreme and high-risk method of investigative journalism. But someone in the chat earlier was saying, stalking kids. That's a lie. It's a falsehood. It's actually a complete distortion. This is basically what the BBC were trying to claim Richard was doing. It's not stalking. The person he was investigating was not a child. They were young adults. But I think it was legitimate for Richard to do that in that situation. And what's more, he didn't break the law either regarding privacy and data protection. And what's more, the mainstream media do these things all the time. They do worse as well. Do you remember? Do any of you know a Millennial Woes? Now, he's a Scottish guy. His real name's Colin Robertson, as we found out. But now he used to be a YouTuber. He's now sort of shrunk away. He sometimes posts on Telegram, but he doesn't do very much now. Now, that guy is a recovering psychiatric patient. And what's happened? Some people from the Daily Record, they were actually G'd on by some Maoists, some SJW Maoists. They door knocked him. They basically went up and they doorstepped him, and so they wanted to speak to him. At the same time, they went round talking to his neighbours and saying how evil he was. They also invaded his garden. They went around the back of his house without his permission, and they wandered around in the back garden. And then they published a front page headline calling him a vile racist in the Daily Record. Now, a challenge for Mariana Spring. Will you denounce the Daily Record in the same way that you do Richard? Will you publish an interview with Colin Robertson and film him weeping and talking about his pain? You won't, will you? Sharpening the Spike is the name of this. Going back to this particular radio show episode, it's a deeply potent phrase. It's reminiscent of vampire movies. You sharpen the stake, sharpen the stake. Sharpening the spike. It implies violence. So what does it refer to in this context? Well, believe it or not, it's the workings of Richard's makeshift camera mount. It's a wooden stick that he's thrust. He made basically a camera mount with a wooden stick, and it has to have a sharp end because he has to thrust it into the ground. Why? What else did you think he meant by sharpening the spike? But what a crafty thing to do. What a crafty, dishonest, manipulative way to warp language. It's obvious they use the phrase sharpening the spike because it is this emotive phrase with the words, the way they're put together implies violence. It's reminiscent, like I say, of vampire movies. And they call the episode that name, so it's not relevant to anything, except it puts an image into people's heads when they listen to it and they hear those words. Mariana Spring turns up with her notepad, camera. She has a cameraman with her. She has a big microphone. She's recording the radio show and the audio and the audio for the panorama, and says he goes up to the market stall, this famous market stall. I was always going to go up there with some of my friends from Wales. We were going to go up there and visit the market stall. I say it's a stall. It's not like outdoors. It's on this indoor. It's an indoor market, and it's like a little alcove, a small shop, really. We were going to go there and see Richard and look at his stuff, and we won't be able to. And if Richard loses the stall, then that's disgusting. It's appalling, because this is his job, one of his jobs, along with Rich Planet. Richard, says she wants to do an interview with Richard. As you can see in the program and in the radio show, Richard refuses to do an interview with her, which is very wise indeed. And as you know, I've been in similar situations. Remember, do you remember when the bases at the barge? I think it was a few years back. Was it 2000? I think it was 2014 or something. I was at the barge, and those people from Plum Pictures were there. Do you remember? And I was filming I was filming what they were doing. It's as you can see it in my video. Now, at one point, Jeff Scott is like presenting these. he's doing his presentation. He puts up a slide, and there's like a cutaway of a human abdomen of a man. You can see like a genitalia, and he says, "This here is the rectum, and this is where they insert the probes." Perfectly right. But anyway, the director like this. The director was this young woman. They're all like young female. These mainstream media directors. Get in here! And the cameraman and everyone else had been like, they've been going around. They've been filming pretties around the pub and things like this. And suddenly they bundle in through the little door into the auditorium, the little function room. The sound man runs in with his microphone. The cameraman comes in. Get in here! They were desperate to get a picture of Jeff with that slide up there. And I'd already worked this out by now, but it's pretty obvious they were making a hit piece, and they did. It was called The Great UFO Conspiracy. It was presented by Dan Schreiber, who was a comedian. And while we were there, they asked us if we wanted to be involved in this program, and I said, not a chance. Not a chance. I don't want to see my face now. I don't want to hear my voice in that program. And my goodness me, I dodged a bullet there, didn't I? So Richard refuses to speak to her, and she's quite right too. He's already been emailing her. They've exchanged many emails before this harassment. And then Mariana Spring says, "Well, I'd like to get Richard's side of the story. But he won't speak to me." Well, if he had spoken to her, what would have happened? His position would have been edited out. It would have been distorted. She also accuses Richard of profiting off people's pain and misery. There's profiting off people. I think he should actually use that phrase at some point, or something, or paraphrasing. Profiting off people's pain and misery. What an insult. What an insult that is. And there's this notion that people like us are just in it for the money, man. We're in it for the money. I sell my books. That's the only money I make. It's not very original because it was applied to David Icke too. He was a TV presenter, on his way to becoming one of the BBC's biggest stars, but he gave it all up to become a fringe conspiracy theorist and put chairs out in Devizes Town Hall and put them back again afterwards because he wanted more money than the salary he was getting from the BBC. And what about Richard? Richard is actually a highly skilled man. He's a qualified electrical engineer. He had a lucrative career. He worked for Rolls-Royce once. On the salaries he could be earning after the age he is. Well, he probably wouldn't. He'd be retired by now. He'd be a millionaire by now. He could easily he could be on the board by now. But he gave it all up. He gave it all up about 15 years ago. He gave his career up so he could produce Rich Planet. And people dare to claim that he's in it for the money. Now we come on to Neil Sanders. Now I think I'm gonna get some pushback here. Neil Sanders was interviewed. There's 2 interviews. There's 3 interviews he gave. Well, they're different edits of the same interview. One was in the BBC article. One was in the radio show. It's an episode called The Insider, and one is like a little brief 3 or 4 minute job in Panorama. Now he's had a hell of a lot of aggravation and indeed he's had some in the chat box too. But I'm going to be controversial now, and I'm going to tell you I think Neil's intentions were good. I think Neil did this, and in fact I've spoken to Neil about this matter. I think he is actually he did this to try and act because he wanted to act as a positive character witness for Richard, and indeed in the radio show he does get a chance to do that. But you know what? And I said this to him too. It won't work. It's not going to work. And he shouldn't. I know he wanted to do this, and he decided to put in the effort. But honestly, it's futile and it's counterproductive. What we're looking at here is a kangaroo court. They don't want positive character assessments of Richard. They don't want to say anything positive about Richard. I'm surprised they didn't edit him more severely in the radio show. It'd be much better for Neil if Neil, if you want to do something positive for Richard, make one of your videos, one of your own videos, defending his character. And I know you don't agree with a lot of what he says. And you do make this point that you've essentially turned, and you've done this to us all actually, because Neil has changed a lot over the last few years. Now, a few years ago he wrote a very definitive book about mind control. Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own, which is very good, and he appeared on the Panorama show. I've actually interviewed him twice. The second one was about Brexit. But you know what? Since then he's really, I'd say he's almost a full skeptic. He's maybe a single notch above a full skeptic. And this was from being one of Richard's favoured few. This is interesting actually because he was in in Richard's inner circle. As you know, in the last few years, Richard is basically refusing to have anything to do with anyone except about half a dozen people, because he thinks how do I put it? Because someone will correct me. He suggests that people are compromised, and those who are not compromised, he has a very low opinion of anyway. This is actually, I've got to say, this is actually one of the reasons he's made a lot of mistakes in the last few years, and it's a shame. It could have been avoided. But Neil Sanders, I don't know how he feels about Neil, whether he understands that Neil is actually trying to defend him in a very pointless way, but maybe Richard understands that Neil was trying to defend him, and I think Neil was. I don't think Neil's a bad guy in this, but Neil Sanders has really just disagreed. He totally just believes Richard's position on this whole false flag thing. He said he got involved originally because he quite liked the UFO stuff and things like that, which Richard really focused on totally in the beginning, and these other things he doesn't accept. I think Neil is wrong there. I've said so before, but I'll say it again. I actually think Richard's thesis to do with these events, the evidence he's gathered, actually is a case that needs to be answered regarding these events that he talks about, which the witnesses claim to have survived. There is a case to answer, and it needs to be addressed, and people should be allowed to address it without harassment. Neil, incidentally, if you can go to YouTube. There's a guy called Brent Lee. Neil, it's called. I actually sub to the channel. I do even listen to the show occasionally, because as you know, I'm interested to hear what the skeptics have to say. Brent Lee is an ex-conspiracy theorist. He used to be one of us, right? He used to be like me, but then he gradually over the time he realised it was not true, and he gradually moved away. And these things do happen. I don't resent people who do this. I don't resent Neil for doing this either. I think they're making a big mistake. I think Brantley has made a big mistake, but it doesn't make them bad people. It's their life journey. People don't choose their beliefs, and I do hope they'll realise what they've done, or realise the mistake they've made. But they do this podcast called Some Dare Call It Conspiracy, and it's quite amusing. And the channel is Brentley TV. So in conclusion, this program is not trying to investigate anything. It's not trying to prove anything. It's not a search for answers. She's not trying to get to the truth of anything. Even all these other little cliches that, no doubt, the Guardian are currently posting. They're lavishing this praise on her for dealing with these evil Nazis and things like that. Oh God, she's so wonderful. She's so sassy and brave. She's a woman. Just a pity she's white. You know what the Guardian are like. What this program is intended to do is suppress investigation. It's basically a warning shot across the bows of anyone who might be considering publishing anything similar to Richard, like myself. It's an attempt to suppress investigation in anything contrary to an establishment narrative on any subject. If the online harms bill goes through, then basically, with the way the government have it, then social media companies will be obliged under law to suppress any information or prevent discussion on any information the government tells them is harmful, regardless of whether it's legal or not. And as I said, social media companies are already doing this. And of course, they wouldn't get away with it. It wasn't for the cowardice and the stupidity of these third parties. Booksellers, social media networks, market managers, people who they hear this smear campaign and they just bow their heads and collaborate unquestioningly. I wish they wouldn't. But the BBC treat this cowardice and stupidity as an infinite resource, but is it really? I think the last couple of years, with the you-know-what illness, has caused a tidal shift in the general population, and we can talk about that in the chat. I'll go back to the live chat in a minute. But I think there has been a change in attitudes. Okay, guys, so I won't be able to go through every question. Yeah, I will not be able to go through everything everyone says, of course. But everything's just flicking forward. Everything's just flicking through now. So I'm just going to go through these. So if it's something you really badly want to say, you've been in the last half hour, you've actually. If there's anything in the last half hour you want to say, and I haven't seen it, you need to repeat it. I'm sorry, you need to repeat it. See how we're living. RDH must have been over the target. Yeah. Hello, Villanora. How are you? Nothing as it seems. You let them eat cake. It's a sad state of affairs. There's this increasing intolerance for alternative ideas. This increasing desire to silence people. And they're using all kinds of methods of doing it. I mean, sometimes they simply pass laws. They don't actually call them censorship laws. They just say it's about protecting vulnerable people from hate speech or offence. Oh, Bungle has a beard. It's a wig. That's actually my bathroom flannel. Oh god, yeah. Oh good. Did I get 102 views tonight, Crafty? Brilliant. I've got 100. I've got 101 now. Yay. I had 102 just now, did I? Brilliant. It turns out this has been one of my most popular live stream. Greta Robinson, hello. I saw Neil Sanders and Ben first on Rich Planet. Richard gave people a platform. He did. I mean, that was a very good thing he did. And a lot of people found me that way, and of course that is something I did thank Richard for, and so did Neil too. You see, I'm Richard's not alone here. There's so many people backing him up here. E-Man says conspiracy theories often make more sense than coincidence. By the way, has anyone seen my where are they? People can see it now. I've got my socks drying now. Oh, gold. Tina Silver says the totalitarian tiptoe has hobnail boots. It does, doesn't it? A boot stamping on a human face forever. Yeah. See how we live it out in the Cox conspiracy. That's see, like I said, there is a case to answer, isn't there? Honey Badger. I can't read that out, but that's hilarious what he says about Neil Sanders. Max Q, Ben, if you'd lost a child in the attack, would you not find Richard D. Hall offensive? If I was a victim of a real crime and then someone was pretending that crime didn't happen, yes. I've got 104, 106, it's going up. Yes, of course I would, Max. But what if I'd lost a child in an attack, like 9/11, and someone went around covering up for the people who did it? How would you feel? How would you feel, Max, if you lost a child, and someone went around saying, the people who actually did it, the people where the evidence points to, who are guilty. Oh no, it wasn't them. It was some guys with hardware tools on board planes. How would you feel about that, Max? Because I know I'd be furious. Hello, Jamie Howe. How are you? Oh, Jamnoise, I found you there, bro. Oh, right. Oh, Jamnoise, thanks. I think you and I knew each other before then. I'm not sure, if I remember rightly. Kim Padder, my alien's name is Russell. A grey called Russell. It's from a song by a band called the Black Goo. Oh, Jamie Howe's been on Cunter's News. That's great. Hello, Caroline McGreal. How are you? Snarlock, it was obvious that they would come after RDH. I wasn't sure. I thought they picked David Icke first, but they've come after RDH. After Alex Jones, I predicted they'd move it on to someone else. Max Q, so you're saying it didn't happen? If you mean the concert event and the bridge event, I think there's evidence. I think the evidence at the moment points to it being not what it appears to be. I'll say that much. In which case, if there were any real fatalities on that day, wouldn't you want? And then the evidence at the moment is pointing to the fact there isn't. But if somehow there was, if the evidence is not quite right, and there were fatalities for whatever reason that day, wouldn't you want the real perpetrators brought to justice, Max? Wouldn't you? I would. Yeah. BBC. Atchmussy Bran Lauren says, sort of like the BBC and Jane Stanley. Yes, Jane Stanley. Yes, I think someone handed the wrong page of the script. Yeah, Jam Nice says, "Oh, did we? Sorry, it's the weed." Right, Jam Nice. I thought you were doing a bit of a Hugo Rune there. You're doing a bit of a Hugo Rune. He's not a grey. He's green, but he is a grey species. He's a green grey. According to a psychic, it's the green greys that put this implant in my arm. And Snarnock said they would have come after Ian R. Crane as well. Yeah, he was saved by the grave, but they would have come after him too. Yeah, they may well come after. They may well go for smaller people like myself. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Honey Badger, I would also like to repeat that the man walking around the conference being bang filming himself is 100% not genuine. That's the gentleman who is looking for his daughter, apparently. Yes, Richard is quite right to point out the inconsistencies in that particular event. Now, I watched Neil Sanders was doing a debate with somebody on that, and I think Neil is wrong, because Neil does think that man is genuine. I think he's not. Yeah. Russell has been through 23andMe. Yes, that's right. His parents come from Zeta Reticuli, and his grandparents are actually in the Pleiades. Caroline McGreal, as you can hear, my voice has improved a lot. Thank you. Yeah. Anto, I'd love to meet you sometime, Anto, because we live quite close, which is great. Closer than most people do. There's also local groups here. There are local groups. I've still got 103 views. I seem to be consistently over 100 now, which is really great. I seem to be steadied well over 100. So this appears to be the most popular live stream I've ever done. Only after AJ and Handy Sook. Yes. And E-Man makes another good point. Yes, no one actually contacted RDH when he was appealing for witnesses or to complain about him. No one complained about him until the BBC approached him. And this is exactly what happened to me at the hospital. Exactly. I lost my job. I was kicked out of hospital portering. The hospital portering service. Oh, I've got to interject a moment. Max Q says, John, would you be willing to meet the victims? The same goes for you, Ben. Yes. Yes, I would. In fact, I'm still waiting for this meeting to be set up by, who was it? Not... Who's the guy who said after I published after I went on the March for Life, he says, I will set up a meeting with some women who've had abortions. Well, it's a year and a half later. I'm still waiting for that. Yes, I would, Max. I'd be willing to meet. I'll meet anyone. I mean, I'll be polite to people. And as I said, but I mean, actually, Max, I would, if I did meet them, it would have to be under certain circumstances because I would have to be in a way that wouldn't. Because unfortunately people, of course, would exploit that. There are people who would exploit that situation. Regardless of anything I said, they would exploit the situation and try to make out I was bad. They would. But what will happen with D Hall? This no doubt he's talking to a solicitor right now, and I wouldn't like to comment on where the legal position is. He may well put out an appeal for funding for a legal case, which I will be only too happy to help him with if I can. I will be only too happy to help him with that if I can. I hope other people will too. The other side, the people who are going to sue him or threatening to sue him, if they end up doing it, the BBC will probably pay for everything. They'll probably have a blank check. It'd be awful if Richard is struck down by a fraudulent lawsuit because he simply doesn't have the money, and the other side have all the money in the world. David Schultz, hello David, is quoting Peter Kreeft. Control language and you control thought you control action, you control the word. Well, that's a paraphrasing George Orwell there, and it's right, yes. Kerry Woolley, hello Kerry. Who checks the fact checkers? What, the fact checkers are not checked. The fact checkers know everything. The fact checkers are the mainstream equivalent of Richard's magic, his own magic wand called Peter Hyatt. It's ironic, isn't it, actually, because that's kind of how the mainstream media treat the fact checkers, the way Richard treats Peter Hyatt. Max Q, you say you'll set it up for me. Not you. It'll be under certain circumstances, which will be needed to sort out. We'll need to sort out legally. Funnily enough, somebody, I think it might have been you, posted in a previous live stream that you knew someone who'd been involved in one of the incidents. I think it was the concert event. And I actually said to you, tell him to get in touch with Richard, because Richard is looking for witnesses. Max, who are you? How could you set that up for me from the United States? Who are you? Are you somebody? Are you somebody else? You're not. You're somebody. You're starting to sound rather familiar, I must say, because you've said things like this to me before. Yeah, I'm getting a bit suspicious of you, Max. I'm not going to do anything right now, but I'm getting suspicious. Yeah. But you see, if you set up some kind of meeting and you just come along to this particular pub or something, come here, right? And you just walk in, right? And they're there in front of you, and you have to explain yourself to them, all right? What's going to happen? There's going to be a camera filming me. I'm going to be like naked before creation. I'm not going to be set up with something like that. All right, it's going to have to be more. It's going to have to be more organised than that. But yes, I'm willing to do that if it's organised properly. If it's organised, if the conditions are arranged, yeah. But COE Living says online protection bill will make it easier to shut down things like auditing, urbexing. Yeah, yes, you're right. The urbexing thing, they'll bring out things such as trespass. They'll invent new ways to apply trespassing laws for the urbexers, even if they're going through a building that's been derelict for 100 years. Auditing, yeah. This is basically the Charlie Veitch thing, where they go up and say, "I'm just filming you, you're accusing me of stealing photons and things like that." Now, I actually think there are far more professional and I think more legitimate people who do that than Charlie Veitch. I think he's basically a sensationalist, but. I think there'll be this thing where the auditing will have to stop because it's harassment. Yes, no, Professor Fetzer, Wisconsin conspiracy. Yeah, well, Jim Fetzer, that's right. Now I'm just gonna have to scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Jock, his channel's gone. Everything, yeah. Martin Taylor says, on the subject of Grant Cameron, Oak Shannon notes advanced theoretical physics. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, where are we now? David, from the point of view, it's understandable why these parents refuse to speak to them, as they consider it stupid at the very least, and probably insulting. They refuse to give it the time. Well, David, that's if they're telling the truth, yeah. But what if they're not? You see, what if they're not? Champ, bed naked before creation. It's a phrase. No, you won't see me. You won't see me on making videos. At least the videos I make in that respect are not on YouTube. They're on other video sharing sites. Villanora, the BBC will doorstep me. All right. Well, they could, if they do, then I'll ask them to speak to me. Well, I wouldn't. Firstly, they haven't written to me. They haven't approached me. If they want to write to me, they can write to me. I mean, I've already been approached by the mainstream media to take part in various productions. I was asked to take part in something called The Great UFO Conspiracy. I was asked to take part in a series called BBC Conspiracy Road Trip. Now, this is the follow-up 3-part series. The original pilot with Charlie Veitch, the infamous one, you must remember. So if they ask me, I was also asked to take part in a very, very silly sort of popular entertainment program called Weighing Up the Enemy. I've written an article about that. I refused on all occasions. I was also asked to take part in this thing for Channel 4. I forgot what it's called now. It's where people sit for 4 minutes in front of a white background and talk. They wanted me to do that as well. So I've been approached. So Vrillon, I have been approached by the BBC and other mainstream media outlets before. My response is no, thank you, or words to that effect. Usually I'm not as polite as that. Sometimes I ask them to. Sometimes I ask them to do. I sometimes could put conditions. Like on one occasion, I said, could you please send me your program plan? Because this was by a company that was commissioned to the BBC. I said, could you please send me your program plan for me to examine? And I also said, would you be willing to enter into negotiations leading to me being given some editorial control of the program? And they said, they said no, we couldn't do that. And I said, right, well, I won't. Yeah. Max, I don't think you work for the BBC, Max. No, I don't think you do. Well, you say you live in the United States. You say you're female and you live in the United States. And Max's Q's boss has sued the BBC twice. Okay. Where are we now? Matt C. Yeah, that's Matt C. mentions the person at the concert filming himself. Yeah, that's very suspicious. I think. Yeah, there are questions to answer there. So we keep going through these various comments here. I'm just trying to click through. Still got 95 views. Still very high. Stephen Trucy. What happened to the Secret Vault? I used to watch it. It's still there. Oh, the Black Vault. Yeah, the Black Vault. No, I was getting it mixed up. Yeah, the Black Vault is still there. The Secret Vault is Matthew Williams' channel. I don't. Is it gone? Because I used to watch that sometimes. Yeah. See how we are living, saying Ben's on Plenty of Fish, a Christian conspiracy. No, I was asked. You're talking about the BBC conspiracy road trip. No, I was asked to take part. It was either the UFO one or the 771. I don't know which one. I'm not sure. They didn't specify. Oh, how are we now? I have to go through some of these. Some things. It's not like I was in local newspapers. It was in the Oxford Mail talking because the school tried to take fingerprints from my daughter, and you can imagine how I responded to that. Yeah, so Max Q says this is interesting. You can arrange for me to meet the victims, but she says she doesn't know the victims. All right. As I said, if you're serious about that, Max, you need to contact me, bennyj74@gmx.co.uk, and we need to go from there. As I said, this is not going to be some kind. This is not going to be some. If this is some kind of setup for me, forget it. This has to be sorted out. Max says I could try to arrange a meeting. Yeah, okay. What you'll achieve from that, I don't know, because it's going to be tightly. I'm going to make sure that I'm not just walking in there legally naked before creation. That's a good way. This is what they did to Nick Collis from the BBC. This is what they did to John. What's his name? Muad'Dib. John Anthony West, the guy who wrote that book or made that Ripple Effect film. Yeah. Anto Dawson. I can try and arrange a meeting with you with King Charles if you like. I would be quite happy to talk to the Bug Burger King. If he wants, yeah. I'm back over 100 again. Brilliant, yeah. I'm back over 100. I don't actually feel as tired as normal. You know, I don't feel as tired as I normally do at this point, which is good. Maybe it's because I'm a bit better, you know. Anto says Max is trying to troll. I don't know actually. I think, well, you know, he's not. She is not trying to. I don't think she's not doing anything that's problematic at the moment. She's already been warned not to do that. But yeah, Eman, Defender of the WEF. Yes, the Bug Burger King. That's what I call it. Yep, he is that. So is old Rashid Sunak, as Biden calls him. What's the name of I forgot which prime minister we've got at the moment. They're so forgettable. Previously it was Liz Truss. Funny that she's named after something a weightlifter puts around their waist. Oh. Oh, Honey Badger, hit the like button. Yeah, please do if it would work for the BBC people, yes. Funnily enough, I used to get at least 6 dislikes almost immediately on every video I did, which is obviously like people. It's the usual people who were following me around. They used to come immediately the moment I uploaded a video, which means they must have been subbed to me and have hit the bell, but they used to just sub to me simply so they could click dislike, which is rather strange. Fishy tag, yeah, fishy. What's it someone called him? Fishy washy, wishy washy, rishy washy. He's a strange. He's I mean, I suppose the only good thing is just Diane Abbott's face. You know, Diane Abbott thinks it's her birthright. She thought it was her birthright to be the first non-white woman to be Prime Minister of Britain. And now there's been other women, and they've all been Tories. And now they've got a non-white person as Prime Minister. She's been robbed of her birthright. And it's not. I think it would have been bad enough if it was another fellow Labour leftist, but it's not. It's bloody Tories. Oh, when will that old cow retire? Honestly, she's my second worst person in the world after Professor Brian Cox. If the two of them ever got together and had a baby, he'd be like the Antichrist. And Snark says Suella Braverman. Yeah, I haven't looked into this, but Maya Tusa's been talking about it. She's now she seems to be public enemy number 1 at the moment. See, I know some of you, someone actually wrote to me and said, Ben, are you going to do a live stream about the new Prime Minister? And my response was, why? That's like me doing a live stream about shall I have Coke or Pepsi in my glass. It's politics has got extremely boring lately. It's very, very boring indeed when you get one cardboard cutout replacing another. Jamnoise is going to he's going to email Santa Claus and arrange a meeting. Yes, please. I want my Batman cape and my Starbird. Snark says Sturgeon's well, that unflushable turd. Oh, Sturgeon. Sturgeon is, oh God, surely people in Scotland don't still believe her. Oh, I hit 106, did I? Brilliant. I'm quite steady over 100 now, which is good, yeah. Sturgeon has actually been negotiating with Brussels to get Max Q. Right, I'm off to get home from work. Ben, if this is the defiance you promised, it failed piss weak. Nonsense, Max, nonsense. You know that because I've actually been 100% in support of Richard over this, and this is a guy I've fallen out with personally. And I will be with him I'll be beside him all the way. I know he's a tough old bird. He won't give up. He'll keep going, and I'll be with him all the way. Even though, as I said, if I see him, you know, he's rude to me again, I'll invite him to, you know, grab some fresh air. I can't do internet bitching. I have to do it. You know, it's effeminate and it's juvenile, and yeah. Anto says, bye Max, I've emailed you to arrange a meet. Yeah. Yeah, yes, Santa Claus is great. He's better than Klaus Schwab. Yes. Right, what else can we talk about? Because I've really gone through everything now. I think we've gone through everything. So I won't just ramble on. Does anyone want... Crafty Nice says, my piss is quite strong. Certainly when you've had a few ciders, yeah. Whichever one of you it is, because I know you both like them. Thanks, Anto. Yeah, thanks, yeah. Good luck to RDH. Yeah, it is, yeah. Drink some water, bro. I've got some dragon juice here. Will the BBC do a hit piece on Andrew Johnson's fleece? Well, I think Trini and Susanna might. They might have something to say about it. Andrew doesn't wear the shitty blue fleece anymore, though, does he? But again, Andrew, I still sub to Andrew Johnson. I mean, I blocked him on Facebook, but I still sub to his channel. I still watch his videos. I haven't changed my mind on any of the factual issues Andrew talks about. It's just well, I don't need to repeat the story of why I fell out with him. It's personal falling out with people is one thing. What we get up to against the New World Order is another. Sleep. Who's someone going to bed? Night, night, everyone. The shitty blue fleece. Yeah. I know you. Sorry, we will approve your comments if you put shitty. It's all right. We're adults here, guys. We're adults. The Lights Willow says, isn't profiting from people's misfortune the same as selling ads during ITV News? Oh, good point, yes. The BBC profits from a lot of people's misfortunes, doesn't it? So all the mainstream media does. I mean, they go to Keep Fighting RDH. Yes, Jam Noise, yes. Keep fighting, Richard, if you're watching. Keep up with it. Keep up the good work. You've got a lot of supporters. And I must say, maybe this will... I've got to say, Richard, I hope you will think again now, because a lot of the people who are now behind you, a lot of the people who are standing up for you, a lot of the people who are going to help you out if you need money to pay your solicitor, a lot of these people are the people you've been looking down your nose at for many, many years. And I hope this will make you think again. We're not shills, we're not useless. Because we disagree with you on some things doesn't make us worthless in this fight. You've built yourself up your little ivory tower where no one else is worthy to join you apart from a few select people, one of whom is now working for the other side, or I know has good intentions but has done so in a bad way. Maybe Richard, this is a time to reassess yourself. What's it now? Hang on. E-Man says the hit piece made it sound like he was being hostile to the parents, but if they talked to him, he would have listened respectfully. Why wouldn't they want to talk to him and tell him why he was wrong? Why didn't they contact him? He's got a public email. Yeah. David says, Ben, have you watched the 3-part series on Elon Musk's life? How he became the richest man in the world, his trials and tribulations, his abusive father. It's called the Elon Musk Show. Now, Max Q mentioned that. No, I haven't. Jock of Ages, thoughts on the Pelosi thing? Ah, yes. Now, there's something a bit weird about this, because apparently there were 2 people in the house. This is where the news, because the news report said there were 2 people in the house and Mr. Pelosi was in a state of undress. Underpants. Yeah, they said, I think that was they were being generous to him. He was in a state. Now, the third person, funnily enough, the other person who was in the house with him, who hasn't been named, opened the door to let the police in, so presumably they're not associated with this person if this person was attacking them. So what were they doing in the house? Apparently they said it's a male person. So what's going on here? I mean, I don't want to sound a little bit cynical here, but this is starting to sound a little bit like, Michael Ryan when he was found in the Queen's bedroom, which Richard himself has talked about, actually. Someone who was not known to the Queen beforehand, and that's her story. As Sue Townsend actually joked in her book Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, which is contemporary. Oh, Crafty Nice. Now for the real story, Ben. Disclosure! Yeah. 3 the Martha Tidfield 1. Yeah, Honey Badger, that's a good one. The Martha Tidfield 1. Yes. 3 the Martha Tidfield 1. Yeah. Oh, right. Martin Taylor. James Fox has been on Somewhere in the Skies. Great. Thanks for letting me know, Martin. I'll watch that because I've watched Moment of Contact. Oh, I've got to do the review and live stream, haven't I? Yeah. I've got to do that. Have you watched Moment of Contact, you guys? It's cheapest to go to Amazon. It's only $9.99 there. Yeah. Oh, nothing seems. Please ramble on. Oh, right. Thank you. Okay. Tessa, who broke the back window? You see, I suspect there was something there was something more going on here. Maybe they. I don't want to say too much. There's always uncertainty in this case. But Mr. Pelosi had 2 gentlemen in his house with him when his wife was away. He was in a state of undress, and presumably they were too. The police turn up, and there's definitely 2 people in the house when the police turn up. They arrest 1 person. There's and then a story comes out that this guy broke in through the back door or back window and then attacked him with a hammer. I mean, maybe it's just the way my mind works, but something else is going on here. Does his wife know about this? Does his wife know he was in a state of undress, entertaining 2 gentlemen in the house while she was away? Oh, David says, right, here we go. Oh, right. All right, Snarnock's talking about that UFO podcast. Yes, I've actually listened to that show, Snarnock. Thanks. I always listen to 2FOP. It's brilliant. I love the song with Sean Cahill does. You know, it wasn't a tic tac and not quite a saucer. And la la la. Yes, love that. David, Splendid Isolation. Ben, I know you like Adam Curtis's films. There's a new 7-part series on his iPlayer, all about the fall of communism in Russia and the horrible period of democracy that followed. A powerful film. Is it a new one? Oh, right, it's not been broadcast on TV, I know, because I do keep an eye on his stuff. Yeah. Let's talk about the Tic Tac. Did anyone read my... I did write... I've actually done a written review of Moments of Contact. Now, please feel free... I am going to do a video review as well. Yeah, definitely. Snarnock. Matt Hancock has published a book. Oh, God. That's going to fly off the shelves, isn't it? Oh, Jeremy Hunt is going, oh, I'm a celebrity. Oh, you couldn't make it up. Steve071, hello. Ben, I've just got home from work. Are you talking about disclosure? Yeah. Yes, we are, Steve. We are on to disclosure. E-Man said, oh, it gets even worse. E-Man Padima. On the police call, Paul Pelosi referred to the assailant as his friend and knew his name. Well, with friends like that, you don't need enemies, do you? If they're going to hit you with hammers and break your skull, well, they're obviously not friends. But it's interesting that, as I said, 3 men in a state of undress in a house together. Yeah. Honey Badger, yeah, record numbers tonight. Thank you, Honey. Yeah, that's true. I've still got 90 views. That's great. Thank you to everyone who's watched. Yeah, he's called somebody Pepe. His surname is Pepe, which I do wonder if it's his real name. Paul Pepe or something like that. Sounds like a nursery rhyme, doesn't it? Paul Pepe. I wonder if that's his real name, or maybe it's the name maybe it's his business handle, you know, regarding what kind of business it is. He does. Will the Gateshead Grey also sue Dia Hall for being a victim of a shovel? Well, Uncle Joe's dead, I think. So it's actually Uncle Joe who hit him with a shovel. Yeah. Hammering his ring. Oh, Kerry Woolley. You're good at using code, I must say. Yeah. David, it's called The Trauma Zone. It's been compiled from hundreds and hundreds of hours of BBC film crews filming Russia over 35 years and 7 hours. Right, David, thank you very much. I'll check that out because I'm a big Adam Curtis fan, as you know. Steve071, did you see the BBC badgering Rich Hall? Steve, this whole live stream's been about that. And you can feel free to watch the recording. Should it disappear from YouTube, I have recorded it. It is on Tech. Kerry Woolley, feel free to swear. We are adults here. All you have to do is speak in code and don't mention certain words, like the names of certain schools, for example. I think you know, you've been watching me long enough. I don't want to do that, but it's just, as I said, YouTube already are practicing basically the diktats of the online harms bill. They've been doing it for a couple of years. It is literally as if someone has had a word in their ear from government and said, look, this online harms bill, it's going to go through. You might as well start now. Benji, I hope RDH doesn't end up like Belfield. Once you become an enemy of the BBC, it doesn't end good for you. Benji, it's almost anyone who is decent and honest in this world suffers. It's like you get hunted and you get attacked, you get all kinds of horrible things are done to you. Huge arsehole. Hello, huge arseholes. Sunak is trying to ban cash. Your name, I think, makes me think of Paul Pelosi. Ooh, that was naughty, Ben. That was naughty. Yeah, Steve's describing what happened. Dude, you could check it out. Richard's actually filmed it himself. Yeah. But honestly, Benji, everyone decent in this. Everyone, if you're like decent and honest, all kinds of horrible things happen to you. It's like I said to the policeman who arrested me back when I did that Bojo Revolution video. And I actually talked later because, of course, I had to go all the way to London to do a police interview, which lasted about 3 minutes. Thanks, Steve. Steve will watch the replay. Cool. It'll be there as usual, and I've got record on my OBS as well in case the actual live stream goes down before I have a chance to download it. But he actually said, Ben, I can see you're a good guy, and I don't really want to arrest you. And I said, well, thanks, Simon. He said his name was Simon. Nice chap. I said, thanks, Simon. You know, we're living in a country under New World Order occupation. Good guys are going to get into trouble. Good guys are going to get into trouble. And was it Bill Hicks said, the little demons run amok? And that is what's happening to Richard D. Hall. It's what's happened to me. It's what's happened to me when I got kicked out of the hospital. And that's probably not the end of it. But I'm not going to. I couldn't live with myself if I just said that this is too much. This is too. I don't want this aggravation. I'm going to be normal. I'm going to take the blue pill. I'm going to do a cipher and go back into the matrix. I would hate myself for that. I would hate myself. Right now, just sorry. Anto the WEF are trying to ban cash. Yes, I've had a rant about cashlessness before. I don't have to repeat it. Yeah. Snarlock said RDH called these times a quasi-dictatorship. Yes, he did, and he's completely wrong. He should have dropped the word quasi. Oh, yeah. Crafty, did I wake up Simon? Yes, did I wake up Simon the policeman? It's a policeman. Crafty, funnily enough, I mean, you may have seen the video where I described my experience of being arrested. It's actually not as dramatic as it is on TV. And they read me my rights. They cautioned me. They put my hand. He said I had my handcuffs like that. I had my hands like that in cuffs. Normally they put them behind your back, but he says, I don't think you're going to be harmful to me, so I'm going to handcuff you in front. And I said, great. Then we had to wait for a paddy wagon to take me away. It's really funny. I was standing outside Portcullis House by these police vans, and the coppers were all around me, and I was giving them a conspiratorial lecture. It's the weirdest speech I've ever done, but I was talking to them about Brexit and things like that, and I went on to other subjects about it to do with the New World Order and the One World Government agenda and things like that. And they asked me they were nice to me. They asked me some questions and things like that, and they were all right. And I might have red-pilled Simon or a couple of the others. Yeah, we used a nice chap. He shook my hand at the end. He said, I know you're a good guy. He shook my hand and he handed me a cup of tea. And then he shut the door of the cell, and I was in the cell until 4 a.m. And then I had my fingerprints taken. I had DNA. They put a basic cotton bud in my cheek, inside my cheek, and they rubbed it to get DNA. Which unfortunately gives them, which means, well, they could frame me for something. It's Tessie. There's a couple of videos to watch. One is called the Bojo Revolution. Oh, Jam Noise. I think it's one of the other Brexit videos. I was singing in central London, and Kirsty Wank, or whatever her name was, Krusty Wank, or whatever her name was. What's her name? Kirsty Walk. She reported that I was singing. Yes. Frillon, who's RP? Yeah, Jerusalem. I was singing Jerusalem. Yes, I did. Oh, that was great. That was, yeah. Huge arseholes. Never drinked the tea or coffee. I drinked both, but in reasonable amounts. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good hour and 40 minutes, and I feel fine. Yeah, I do feel fine. I will make sure. I've already posted the. I think I've already posted. Let me just double check. Have I posted it all? I think I've posted the. Yes, I've posted both the. Yes, I've posted both the notice on the Panorama voice blog, and I've posted the video. That's good. And I'll just check I've done it on MeWe, because these are all my. I have multiple social media profiles now. It's going to take a while to load. Here we go. I must have done. Yes, I must have done. And Minds. I think I did that, didn't I? I did. Oh no, I haven't done it on Minds yet, so I'll do that now. Yeah, and I've done it on Gab. What about Gab.ai or Gab.com as it's called now? They've bought themselves a .com domain. I think I've done it on. Have I done it on there? I think I have. I have Bonnie Lad, and I've Getter. Good old Getter's great. Getter is like the. Getter is the. It's the perfect space for the free speech Twitter people. If you're on Twitter and you love free speech, go to Getter, for goodness sake. Get on Getter. Gettr. Funny, Trevor. I don't know. Would he mind me telling you about this? But someone I know has just had they've just had a video taken down off their YouTube for misinformation, and they're very angry about it. And I've just encouraged them to set up a BitChute account, and they're going to do that now. They're setting up a BitChute. What's happening on Tumblr? I did do Tumblr, didn't I? I didn't know. I don't know. I don't think I did Tumblr. Let me check my profile. So, guys, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Posts. Oh no, I've done Tumblr. Oh bloody! What's this freaking ads? Oh, Wakanda Forever is on. Is that a sequel to? There's something called Wakanda Forever, which is, I think, a sequel to Black Panther. Funny about Black Panther. Oh yeah, that reminds me of something. Do you remember Black Panther? Do you remember my review of Black Panther? Now, loads of people going on about the moment Black Panther came out. People kept emailing me, Ben, because I'm quite known for my hate reviews of various films, and I'm quite scathing in my criticism. I said, Ben, there's a horrible film come out. Will you please go and hate review it for me? It's really cultural and Marxist. It's very anti-white. It's about white people being evil and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, it's Black Panther. I went and watched it. It's actually it's a really good film. It is a damn good film. I swear to you, it's Black Panther is actually. It's not. It's actually a really well-made. And there's no anti-whiteness in it, or very little indeed. I mean, compared to something like Get Out, there's very little. It's actually really, it's a really benign, harmless film, I would say, and it's very well made, very exciting, well written, and the postscript at the end is like they come out with the free energy. Wakanda decides to share its free energy with the whole world. And it's just amazing. And there's this postscript it's the best part of the film when they go to the United Nations and they say we're not gonna. I can't remember the actual, but King T'Challa stands there and he says we're no longer going to live in isolation. We're going to share what we have with the world. We're going to share our technology with the world and the free energy and stuff like that Wakanda uses. And I just thought that's it. And the thing is, it's really annoying because it's like you get like the end sequence. Oh yeah, I've done it on Tumblr. You get the end sequence right, and you see it's on YouTube, so you can watch it. But you get like the end sequence with the animation at the end. And of course, loads of people get up to leave, don't they? Because I was in the cinema. Loads of people get up to leave. And then the postscript comes on where the Wakandans go to the UN, and of course everyone then stops leaving and they turn around and look, but they don't sit down. They stand in the bloody aisle in front of me, and I can't, and I think they stand in the aisle like, oh well, look, there's more, there's a bit more, we missed this bit, and they stand there and they watch the postscript, and then it goes to the credit roll. I'm like, this is why when I'm watching a film, I don't leave until the very end, until the lights come on, just in case something like that happens. It's really annoying. It's really discourteous. Alright, back to the comments now. Where are we now? Okay, Kerry Woolley. Are you working as a clone on Mars? Not to my knowledge. Who's RP? Sorry if I missed a bit. Jam Noise, the Daily Fail. I don't. The Times has already done something on Richard. No doubt the Daily Fail will do that as well. The Daily whatever, it will do it. Yes, all the horrible mainstream medias and that, all the mainstream newspapers are now going to do a follow up, aren't they? Crafty, I miss Charles, says Crafty. Yes, so do I. I hope he's okay, Charles. If you're watching, I hope you're okay, mate. I understand why, but I understand why he decided to step back. I do. Oh, Anto's got to go. Okay, you're going to Ireland. Okay, see you, Anto. Take it easy. Yeah, I hope to see you soon, because I know we live quite close. Jane Kelly, have you heard any more about the Welsh Tunnel? What's that? Is that Oh, Rich Planet. Sorry, it's Rich Planet. Thanks, Jam Noise. Has anyone heard about the Welsh Tunnel? Do you mean the Severn Tunnel? What tunnel do you mean? Oh, and maybe a decent pint of Guinness, which I'm yet to find in Oxford. Yeah, well, once you've gone to Ireland and you've tasted it over there, it's just not the same, is it, Anto? It's not the same. Yeah, I'll tell you, Anto. There's a group. Now, do you know Cowley Road? If you go to Uhuru on Cowley Road, that's the health food shop. There's a lady in there who organises it. Yeah, and you can talk to her. She's a lovely lady. Her name's Noz. She's a lovely lady, and she could talk to you about it. Tell him I sent you. Jane Kelly, Ammanford. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Jane. Yes. Oh, right. This is the tunnels. Yeah. Yeah. There are every so often Alan does post an update on his channel about that. Yeah. Alan Tate. Yes. I'm still in touch with Alan and Christine. Yeah, I am. They sometimes post in the live chat on her Panmo Radio. Actually, yeah. Nothing as it seems. Annoying eggs delivered by the bunny men. Alright. Maybe that was Echo. Oh. 80s pop music reference there, yeah. I'm showing my age. Starnock, notice how the whole Maxwell Epstein saga has been conveniently forgotten, as predicted. Yeah, so has a couple of other things, hasn't it? Including a certain illness which was spreading across the world. Yes, we haven't heard much about that lately. Yeah, I think they are trying to make us pretend it didn't happen. Jam Noise, Heidi. Heidi's. I do occasionally talk to Heidi. She's having a few problems where she is now. She's quite isolated because she moved away from her old home. She's living further away from her family, but she's okay, I think. And she just let me know how she's getting on, and I will. I'll ask her if I can tell you a bit more about her. All right. David, there's over 100 years of coal left underneath England from established mines. There's no good reason, along with over 100 years worth of shale gas and NS oil, that Britain can't be energy independent. Well, there is a reason, David. The reason is that if Britain was energy independent, the New World Order couldn't control it. We can't have that, can we? Tessa, it's what they call those additions to the ends of films, or hidden ones when the DVDs get released, Easter eggs. Yeah. It was like that. If you go to YouTube and you can see, it's fantastic. I mean, like I said, I think people are a bit disappointed when I gave that film a glowing review. And I want to watch the sequel, because presumably if it's a sequel, it'll be set in a world after the Wakandans have shared their free energy technology with the world. So which is kind of a disclosure moment, isn't it? I talked about this with Stephen Bassett, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm still on 77 views. I'm not going to go long after 2 hours if you don't mind, guys. But because then it starts getting late, and I'm like, and I've got to work tomorrow. But Just yeah. I mean, I'd like to go back to the cinema. Obviously we're in the middle of a watch party for the moment of Contact, but it'd be nice to do another roving review at the cinema. And also, of course, there's other films coming out. There's the new David Paulides film coming out, and there's a couple of others. I mean, is there? I don't know what others there are. I know very well that James Fox has another film in the can. He's waiting to release. Yeah. Thanks, Tessa. Thank you. I won't go on much longer. No, I won't go on much longer. And there's something about a video. Richard Dolan was talking about some video that James Fox had that was stolen or something from a camper van. All right. Snarlock, One by One. Yeah. It's fantastic. Now, Jam Noise 72 and I have both watched this. I swear there's a character in there based on Jam Noise, actually. But it's Rick Mayall's last film. Absolutely. The Diana, what's her name, the director. Her interviews are incredible. Oh yeah, Jam Nice, you're welcome. You're welcome. Fucking twats, BBC. I should complain, but I don't want to talk to them at all. I know the feel. I know what you mean, Jam Nice. I really know what you mean. Um, they ended up. I was actually in one of the shots on one of the programs I said I didn't want to be in. It was. I think it was the Great UFO Conspiracy, and I was really. I thought it was my duty to kind of complain to Ofcom and things like that. But in the end, I just thought I'm going to write them a letter, and if they don't remove me, I won't kick up much more of a fuss. Hello, Welsh Ripper. You've missed everything, mate. But don't worry, the replay will be there as always. Even if it's deleted, it's going to be on Alltech. I am recording it right now. You're welcome, Villon. You're welcome. Where was I? What was I talking about? I've forgotten. Oh, One by One. Yeah. It's if you go to Rick Mayall's filmography on Wikipedia, all his films there. The One by One is on there, but it's not. It's not a hyperlink. I'm sure. I hope a lot of Rick Mayall fans will look down and say, "What's that? His last film? His last film? Surely all the Rick Mayall fans must have watched One by One, because even the ones who are not conspiratorial, they must have thought, well, that's got to be a curiosity, even if you're not like red pilled. It's got to be a curiosity." Simply because you like Rick Mayall. I mean, I'm a Rick Mayall fan anyway, because I think he's one of the funniest men who ever lived. And he's very sad. He had this injury which eventually led to his death a few years later, which is very sad. Yeah, it's very, very sad indeed. Stephen Truth Seekers, other than the reason that politicians have sold Britain down the river. I think that's a response to David, yeah. If we were energy independent, just imagine. Let alone that we had like bloody free energy. Jama, she even had my hair. I can't find that film anywhere now. It's floating around in various places. I mean, I've got the DVD anyway, but it is in various places, such as. Well, I don't want to. I'm not going to breach copyright, but go to the usual video sites which tend to upload these things and post these things. You'll find them. Oh, nothing. It seems Third Rail Radio. Do you listen to that? That's great. Okay. Bye, Steve. Steve 071's off. Yes, there was a Snarlock. Is it? Yeah, DVD. The DVDs are still on sale, I think, for it as well. But yeah, there was EVP on Third Rail Radio. Did you see that? Nothing. Did you see the EVP we picked up? Yeah. Yeah, Frank Triggs, I'm not going to read that out, but that's absolutely true, yes. It's also on a couple of other sites as well. Alright, so it's all over the place. These things pop up everywhere, you know. Old movies, generally most people don't care much about old movies. So they tend to pop up all over the place. Obviously new releases, you know, they're a lot more careful with copyright. So yeah. Jam Noise 72. Jam Noise 72. We did a splendid job. Go Team Spanner. You both did. Thank you very much. This was a kind of a dodgy one, because I knew there'd be disagreement, and I knew there's possible we could let things slip. You can't avoid it completely. I think you know every so often people let things slip. But I'm not going to tiptoe around this sort of thing. I just keep it to a minimum. You know, keep the certain words you don't say to a minimum. But there was always the risk that someone would turn up and try to Fed post. That was my concern, because there are a few people who've done this before, that have deliberately, and they did this on someone. Actually, there was a member of one of my forums who someone turned up and deliberately Fed posted. In other words, said things on purpose that they knew in order to get that forum deleted. And luckily, it didn't work. I spotted them and banned them, but they were basically putting threats and obscene material on there, and I just banned them. I banned them in time and deleted everything they put up there. If the host had seen that, they'd have probably deleted the forum, which was the intention of the person for doing it. This is why if you want to join my forum, I have to know who you are. I can't just let anyone join. Ooh. Spreaker. Nothing is good. Nothing as it seems. Yes, Spreaker actually they've never committed censorship against me. Touch wood, and I think that may be because I'm paying them. It's not free. It's what, £18 a month. Yeah. Yeah, Jamnos, have you seen Max Egan lately? I mean, Max was he had to leave Australia, didn't he? It's interesting, Australia, they're exiles from Australia. I mean, exiles used to be people from Eastern Europe. during the Soviet era, and now they're exiles from Australia. They're exiles from Edward Snowden is a US exile, as is Julian Assange is he's an exile from bloody everywhere, isn't he? Snarnock, maybe they built those new style prison blocks to round up truth as an enemy of the state. Snarnock, have you seen them? There's like those mega prisons they're building, the ones with the nice views and the greenery and no bars on the window. Those are those really? Are those going to be used just for criminals, or are they going to be places where naughty people like us might end up? Oh, Jam Noise, sorry, Max that was in chat. Yeah, Max is going to arrange this meeting with us, and I don't know who they are, he, she, whatever they are. I think it's like, oh, will you stand in front of these people and say the things you said? It's like it's this guilt trip. Oh, Matt says you were going to talk about Hyatt. Yes, Peter Hyatt. One of the mistakes Richard's made over the last couple of years, and this has got a lot to do with the contempt he feels for so many other people in the UFO conspirasphere, is he's essentially abandoned all forms of all the normal scholarship he used to do, and replaced them, like I said, with his magic wand. Abracadabra, Peter Hyatt. He actually did say at one point. He actually said, "I'm going to clear up the controversy of the Rendlesham Forest incident once and for all. I'm going to get to the truth once and for all." He said something like that, which is incredibly brazen, and it's an incredibly brazen and hubristic thing to say. This 40-plus-year-old mystery, which researchers have been trying to pick apart forever since it happened. And Richard comes along and says, "I will solve the mystery." How, Richard? How? How are you going to do that? Oh, it's simple. Wheel in Peter Hyatt. Peter Hyatt is the all-knowing, all-powerful, perfect person who never gets anything wrong. He's my, abracadabra, wave my magic wand, Peter Hyatt. That's it. Mystery solved. But of course, as you know, I wrote a review of Richard's programs, especially the RFI ones where he brings in Peter Hyatt. As you know, I took a very dim view of them, and I did. I had to take him to task for that. Oh, bless you, David. Ben, would it help if you had Patreon or PayPal donations to support what you do? Oh, David, I have PayPal. I don't have formal donations, no, but I know some people do occasionally send me things. David, the best thing you can do is buy my book. If you've not bought my books already, buy them. It's the best thing you can do if you want to help me out. And you've got something to read then, and I think you might like them as well. It's something to read. But that's really good of you. Thank you very much. Snarnock, Hyatt does seem right about that Neil Armstrong interview. Snarnock, I'm not. Snarnock and Matt, I'm not. The sensitive thing is another one of crafting knowledge. Yeah, that's another big blunder that Richard made. And he could honestly spared himself an awful lot of embarrassment, and so could Andrew Johnson, if they'd merely condescended to talk to the researchers who've been investigating the case, daring to consult with me and Gary Heseltine, because we're the ones who've been investigating the case the most, certainly in recent years. Yeah, but he didn't consult with us. He didn't even speak to us. And as a result, like I said, he got egg on his face as a result of that. I'm not, Matt and Snarnock, I'm not saying that Peter Hyatt is useless and his input has no value. It does. But you can't replace it with other forms of research. Richard has done that. Richard has replaced all other forms of scholarship, and he's just thrown them all out and brought in Peter Hyatt and Peter Hyatt alone as a replacement, and that's silly. And he doesn't realise it because unfortunately, one of the products of his isolation is that because he's receiving no input from others, because he has this almost cultic level of isolation. He's now, I'll see you, Welsh Ripper, thanks a lot. He makes these terrible mistakes, which are very transparent to people outside his bubble. It's like when someone is in a cult. Very often people outside the cult can see how ridiculous it is, yet people from the inside it's very different. For example, if there was a bank robber, right? A bank robbery, and some people with stockings over their head and sawn-off shotguns went in a bank, robbed it, and went out. Okay, the police coming along. What are they going to do? They're going to gather evidence. They're going to gather fingerprints. They're going to test for DNA. They're going to check out CCTV footage. If Richard D. Hall was doing that investigation, no, if there's an old lady walking past with a Zimmer frame, you simply arrest her and give her the Peter Hyatt treatment, and then you solve the mystery. And it's right. It's not true, yeah. And a lot of people say, now this is an RDH support video. Well, it is, but you see, I don't believe Richard D. Hall is above criticism. A lot of people don't criticise him because he has this reputation for being intimidating. Well, he doesn't intimidate me. As I said, I've fallen out with him personally, and I do support him professionally, but I've fallen out with him personally. And if he has a problem with it, well, there are car parks at the venues where he does his speeches. I've got to be careful what I say here now, for legal reasons. There are car parks. There's fresh, lots of space. We can go and have a private, civilised, gentlemanly discussion about our differences. Because I don't do internet bitching. I can't do internet bitching. As I said to Slacks, I just said, look, Abingdon Town Centre, mate. I can't bear this any longer. Yeah. So that's my position on Peter Hyatt. Richard is. It's disappointing, because when I watched these last few videos of Richard, I realised that, and I said so. Richard is capable of doing better than this. Richard has done better than this. Yeah, thanks Matt for reminding me. But Crafty, yeah, I'm glad I got to do that because that's an important point. It's an important point. It's 2 hours 5 minutes into this video. I think I'll call it a night. Keep fighting, Richard. You've a lot of people on your side, and I believe I don't want to get all melodramatic here and sort of like schmaltzy, but. Justice will prevail. Righteousness will prevail. We are on the side of the angels here. The BBC are on the side of the devils. Mariana Spring is an intellectual prostitute who has dedicated. She's built a career being part of a system of lies and propaganda designed to enslave the world. And I hope she might even realise that one day, and I hope she does, because even St. Paul, he was Saul of Tarsus, wasn't he? And St. Paul, he had this moment of enlightenment and became St. Paul. Maybe Mariana Spring will be the next Richard D. Hall. You never know. Guys, thank you very much, all of you. Night, Tessa. Night, Jam Noise 72. Thanks for being a great spanner. Tune into the Gas Spanner, my show on hospital portering, yeah. And Crafty Nars, you've been another great spanner. Thank you very much. Kerry Woolley, that's really, really great. Yes, Matt, I will relieve. Oh, someone else has just liberated your comment. Yes, and I quite agree, Matt. That's exactly what he is. Jam Noise 72 says, "Fuck you, BBC." Quite right. Night, GJB2. Night, User One. User One has been here from the very moment I posted the preview. Thanks, bro. Love you too, Jam Noise, Soul Sister. Good night. Night, Snarnock. Thanks. I think it's one of my best live streams. Certainly my most popular. Frank Triggs, thank you. Kerry Woolley, thank you all of you. Good night. Della Farron, thank you very much, Della. Much appreciate you joining in. And huge arseholes as well. Thank you very much, all of you. And I hope I haven't left anyone out. Frank Triggs, thank you. Virulent Aura, happy belated Halloween. Good night, David. Good night, Iman Padima. Thank you all. David Schultz, take it easy. Hope everything's all right in Maine. Good night, Matt. This is like the Waltons, isn't it? Good night, Mum. I'm ending it now. Thank you very much. And anyone who I haven't... Thanks, Tessa. Anyone I have not left out. Anyone I have left out. I appreciate you watching, even if you haven't posted in chat, or you're watching the recording of this, or you're watching it on BitChute, Odyssey, or Rumble. Thank you very much. Check out my other videos. See ya.